All right, I think this is on. All right, hey everybody. So I did a stream on Friday night, and the mic was set way too low, and I got told that after the majority of the teaching. So I spent this morning fixing the audio on the video, and I'm going to be restreaming that lesson because I think it's an important lesson. And so I'm going to let the video play, and then I'll come back at the end, and I will answer questions then. So here's the video all about how to train your body not to relax while you are playing. Oops, gotta go here. Let me go to full screen, please. Oh, you know what I can do? Sorry, give me just a second here. I'm trying not to give away my stream key because that would be bad. Go scene. Ta-da! And then I'll just add the QuickTime window. Where's that? VLC media source, image, slideshow, color source. We'll just do it this way. All right, that PC. QuickTime, full screen, hit play, double check it works. Hello everybody, we're starting at the computer today. And that's because there's some science stuff that I want to share with you. And then I'll move the mic over there and we'll go to the other camera and we will we'll get onto the guitar. This is going to be kind of an interactive live. There's going to be like a sort of a guided meditation portion of it, if you will. And if you're new here, I know quality doesn't look good. It looks good on the other camera, but I got to do the share screen thing. So I just want to make sure my audio is coming through. Yeah, nice and clear. So yeah, and today's going to be all about something called progressive muscle relaxation. So I first got exposed to the concept of meditation and progressive relaxation when I was in music college in 2015, and I've been doing this stuff off and on for 9 years, which is a long time, and I've seen literally zero other guitar players apply this methodology to training in guitar, and a lot of people struggle with tension and things like that. So I wanted to share with you something that I'm doing that will help you eliminate tension regardless of literally basically any technique that you're using. It'll set you at the right set point or whatever you want to call it. It'll get you to where you're not using so much tension. So I'm going to switch on over to screen share, and I'm just going to show you some articles I just found real quickly on this. And then if you don't believe me, you can just try this stuff out. And yeah, so I found a great, and a lot of these are about, like pain and anxiety and stuff like that. But, pain is really the thing that we're talking about today. So there's a great article from Healthline. I reference this a lot when I wrote for a health company. It's a good site. So anxiety is one of the major benefits of PMR, progressive muscle relaxation. This is for generalized anxiety disorder or anxiety due to a stressful situation. 2019 study showed PMR reduced symptoms of depression, anxiety, stress, at the same time improved feelings, well-being, quality of life. PMR had the ability to relieve tension and anxiety in dental patients. 2016 study, let's actually open this one up. Let's see, larger study. I hate on the Google search, it tells you how many citations the study has, but it doesn't do that on the actual page. I haven't been able to find it. But I wonder how many people were in this. Anyways, larger study done in 2016 determined that PMR was effective as acupuncture treatment for helping decrease feelings of tension, anxiety, and anger. Pretty cool. And yeah, we're not going to touch that one. With 10-foot pole. And then here's just another study I found. This was referenced by 201 people, just off quick Google search. Skip into the end here. Results showed the progressive muscle relaxation, deep breathing. We're not doing deep breathing today. And guided imagery all increased the state of relaxation for participants in those groups compared to the control group. In each case, the increase was statistically significant. So you can just search progressive muscle relaxation on PubMed if you want to go learn all about this. And then now we're going to switch over to this, and we're going to talk about how to do this on guitar. So if you've never done progressive muscle relaxation before, or any form of guided meditation, grab your guitar. I'm basically going to walk you through this today. Move this smidge up. So I'm developing a system right now. The working title for it is called Perfect Picking, and it's all about how to increase wrist picking specifically, because what you see with 99% of people who are teaching speed out there is that, all right, do what do you call them? Speed bursts, and they go, do it with your wrist, and they go dun 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 da 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 da. And then they move their whole arm. And what happens to quite a lot of players is they are like, okay, well, I'm told to use my wrist, but then I end up using my arm, and then if I want to go fast, then I end up having all this tension. Or people who are just playing for long periods of time and want to practice more than like an hour sometimes, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, especially if you get 4 or 5 hours, or you've got a long gig or something, you can struggle with this. So literally what you can do, we're going to use kitchen timer. We use this thing all the time. Love the kitchen timer. And I would say at minimum, do this for 2 minutes. And at maximum, you can do it for 3 minutes. I'm just going to walk you through it. I'm going to turn off the mic. And whatever. Turn this down a smidge. And it doesn't matter if you use a clean tone or a dirty tone. I'm going to use clean. Nice piezo on this guitar. And so what we do is you can close your eyes while you're doing this or not, but you're just going to pick on one string. I actually like using a capo for this just because you don't get so much ring out. So I'll take a capo, I'll put it on a fret 12, really doesn't matter where you put it. If you're using one of these Ernie Ball capos like I am, they're great, but make sure you put it on the right way. A lot of people don't put it on the right way. So just kind of get some things out of the way. So you can just set yourself up to pick. And you're just feeling that ideal picking motion. And then what you're going to do as you're doing this exercise is you're just going to scan down your whole body. Some people call this a body scan, head to toe. And I like starting at the head and the neck because there's some players you observe and there's a lot of tension here or, kind of on this neck to shoulder thing. Maybe I've actually seen a lot of players and experienced myself, like the lats get involved for some reason in picking motion, and they really don't need to be involved. Everything that we're doing is just wrist motion, and it's stuff that comes from muscles that are in the arm, and there's not actually a lot of muscles in the hand. There's some that kind of help close the fingers, but the ones that move the wrist are all in the arm. So we're just going to scan down this. So I'm just going to set the timer for 3 minutes. We probably won't hit 3 minutes, so 2, 3. We'll start it, and you're just going to say, okay, I want you to imagine your head. And if there's any tension at the top of your head, I just want you to let that tension go and recognize that that's not part of your picking. And you don't need it. You don't need it. You can just let that tension go. And just feel how easy and relaxed it is that you don't need to involve your head or any of your neck muscles or any of that in your picking. Cool. And now we're going to move down, and I want you to feel in your neck. And maybe where your neck kind of attaches to your shoulder. I just want you to visualize that space and all the muscle fibers and all of the joint connections and everything. Doesn't matter which string we're on. I'm going to switch to B string. It's kind of an easy string. And I want you to imagine all those connections and the healthy blood flowing through it and everything just like that. And if there's any tension there, maybe just roll your shoulders out a little bit. Just want you to let that go. Imagine it just rolling down your body and just draining right out of your feet. And feel how easy it is and how, with your picking motion, you don't need to involve all of these other muscles with moving your wrist because they're connected, but not really. All right, and now we're going to move into the shoulder, and you can think of the deltoids if you're a bodybuilder type for this. And I just want you to feel, I'm just going to roll this down because you know what I'm doing with the pick. I mean, a lot of times I do these exercises with all this off, but I'm picking the whole time. And I want you to feel your front deltoid, whereas if you were doing a hammer or a raise like this, or if you were doing a raise on the side, kind of just feel out that muscle, imagine where it is on your body, and then feel out that kind of back deltoid, maybe roll your shoulders again a little bit. Imagine the socket inside of your shoulder. And I just want you to, if there's any activation there, just recognize that it's not part of your picking motion. You don't need to involve that there. Cool. And now we're going to move down to the bicep and the tricep, which I basically never see get involved, but it's good to go through. And I want you to imagine you're doing a hammer curl, and maybe just feel that activation in your bicep just a little bit, and then relax it, let it go. And if there's any tension there, just remember, you don't need to do that. You don't need to activate that muscle. It's not part of your picking motion at all. You can just let it go. And maybe feel the same thing with your tricep. Maybe you roll your shoulder again, move your elbow a little bit. It's not part of the picking motion. You can let that go. And now we're going to move into the elbow, because a lot of people, maybe when they feel pain, they'll feel it kind of right in here or right here on either side of their elbow. I'm going to switch strings again. And I want you to feel, and maybe you felt pain in the past there, but you're not feeling pain now. And just feel what that feels like, that easy flow, that freedom, and that the elbow isn't really involved in your picking motion, and you don't need to activate it for this. And we can just keep picking along. Chicken picking. We're not doing chicken picking. There's our 3 minutes. So I'm walking you through this, but you can go through the whole rest of the chain, and we'll go ahead and go through the rest of the chain because we're just hanging out tonight. So I'll put it on a timer and see how long this takes. Okay, great. Now I want you to move into your arm and your forearm. And if you've ever been like a rock climber, like I used to do a lot of that, I want you to think about how your arms can feel really tired and they can feel activated. And a lot of times, because these muscles are involved in the picking motion, you can have a little bit of activation in there. And the words I want you to remember are just relaxed energy. They're not tense and they're not totally relaxed. They're just there. They're activated just a little bit, just enough for us to have sufficient control of our picking. And if there's any excess tension there, not excess activation, just excess, too much. If there's too much, just experiment with relaxing those, like almost too much. Maybe move your arm around a little bit. Easy. Just feel how it goes back and forth. And now, just bring it back up a little bit. Maybe you went all the way down to 10% relaxation. Just bring it up to 11. Bring it up to 12%. Bring it up to 13, 14, 15%, wherever you need to sit to feel like you have control, but where you're not tensing and you're not activating too much. And a lot of times with the picking, I find it's helpful to kind of get into some kind of rhythm, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Why are we not on? Oh, we're on. And a lot of times while I'm doing these, I'll switch it and I'll start on like an upstroke or something, just because, upstroke for a lot of us is kind of the weaker thing, but it's really helpful to kind of even it out. So you can kind of squeeze a lot of extra out of this exercise. So this is starting upstroke. Or you can feel like a 7 or like a 9. I like doing 10s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and then feeling that next downstroke. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that next upstroke will put you on an upstroke for your second set of 5. But if you look at it as a set of 10, then you'll land on a downstroke. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second set of 5 is an upstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you land on a downstroke again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just as you're doing this exercise. So, and now we're going to move in. We're going to go back to our mindfulness stuff. We're going to move into the wrist. And checking this thingy. Oh, I closed it. Hold on. Ducks. YouTube. There it goes. There we go. Cool. Cool. So now we're just going to go into the wrist. So now feel into your wrist. Feel on top of your wrist right here. Feel in the middle of your wrist and feel underneath your wrist. And if there's any activation, any excess tension there, just let that go. It's not part of your picking. And just feel how easy it is. Maybe, just like we did in the last exercise, go down from maybe you're at 90% activation. It's really tense. Just bring it down to 80. Bring it down to 70. Bring it down to 60. Bring it all the way down to 25, just like rolling a volume knob down. Bring it down to 1%. Just feel how loose and easy it can be. And maybe you even feel your pick kind of deviating back and forth in your hand a little bit. Great. And now bring it back up to the level of activation that you need to play guitar. Great. Now we're going to move to on top of the hand. A lot of times you can see my hand is kind of, all the fingers are stacked, like 1, 2, 3, and then my pinky just kind of hangs out. A lot of times people who play with their fingers open, well, in order to move the fingers out, you have to activate muscles on the top of your hand. And if you just put your hand out just in front of you, just try moving your fingers just from here to here. Don't have your hand bent like this or bent backwards. Just have it neutral in your arm and then just bend your fingers back like this. And what you're going to feel is you're going to feel that activation up through here. And that's why I'm a big advocate of just, if your hand's in a neutral position, neutral would mean that we can move both out and in. So clearly anything that's out here is not neutral. This is not a neutral position. This is a neutral position where we're just hands. We can close and we can open more. That's going to be neutral. You can even try that. Just feel it all the way stretch, all the way open, and then just all the way closed, and then just feel kind of, where's 0%? Where's the dead zone for where your fingers rest? And then if you haven't, I highly recommend watching my How to Hold a Guitar Pick video, which goes over all of this stuff. Cool. But anyways, we're going to keep doing this, and we're just going to focus on the top of our hand now. And this is exactly, if you do this exercise, this is exactly how I want you to talk to yourself. It's nice and easy. It's like one of those ASMR things where someone's talking like this and they want you to be really relaxed. Maybe they even add a little bit of fry in their voice. It's kind of weird. Cool. So we're just going to feel on top of our hand, and we're just going to feel the relaxation there. And on the top of the hand, as far as I've looked at where the muscles attach, there's kind of some things that kind of help your hand, the knuckles kind of close and round out like this. And those, the fibers run along this way, here and here and here. So you can kind of, if you want to go look up a diagram of the hand, that's where those muscles attach. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, just on these, they're kind of in the middle of the fingers, if I remember correctly. Go check a hand diagram. I'm not talking about the thumb, just talking about these fingers. And there's kind of the fibers, 3 thingies that run this way. So you can think about all of those. For me, it helps me to visualize in great detail all of these things, because then I know exactly pinpoint where to relax. Okay, cool. So back to our little meditation. So now I want you to think about the top of your hand, and maybe even imagine that space that exists right here, kind of in the middle, just out in space, and just feel that area, feel the space in there, feel that being relaxed, and how you don't need to involve it with your picking. Well, it does need to be there a little bit. And now I want you to bring your mind's awareness to the very tip of your pick, exactly where it contacts the strings. And I want you to feel how the strings give resistance every time you pick through, and how you have control about how fast that pick moves through and how much tension, how much resistance you give the pick. And try just loosening your grip on the pick and see how low you can go without dropping the pick. And you'll find that a lot of times you can have this loose grip where the strings fight back against the pick, and you can kind of feel the pick doing this in your hand. And so that's too loose, right? But we just want to feel that, and then we can just bring it up from 0%, where we're just above dropping the pick, up to 1%, just holding the pick just a little bit, up to 5%. Maybe we roll it up to 10%, and then maybe we roll it up to 15, and 15 is all we need. Cool. So this is how we do progressive relaxation on the guitar. We just walked again from the head into the neck, into the shoulder joint, bicep and tricep, just doing it by muscle groups. We went into the shoulder. We imagined all of our forearm muscles and then our wrist muscles, kind of in our wrist in this carpal tunnel area. A lot of people say it as like one word, carpal tunnel. It's the tunnel for the carpals. And then we imagined on top of our wrist. If you have pain in literally any other area of your body, you can go through and do this. And it's a very powerful exercise. And so if you do this every day as part of your warm-up before you practice, then what you're really conditioning your body to do is whenever you play guitar, instead of being tense, instead of just like being right there, you're relaxed. And the longer I play guitar, and like I'm starting to kind of lean into playing some Symphony X music now, where it's just frankly it's a little bit harder than Dream Theater music, because it's more in the power metal camp, where it's just a lot of fast picking for a long period of time, and you just can't tense up. You're not going to be able to play that stuff. So I'm still exploring and refining my picking technique, but whatever picking technique you use, or if you're doing sports or you have an injury or anything, this is going to be something that you can apply for basically any area of your life. But we want to do it at the beginning of our practice, so we're conditioning our brain to be relaxed. So I'm going to take a drink of water, and I'm going to pop over here and see if we have any little comments or stuff. What's concepts? Yeah. Thanks for the comments, Chris. And one thing I want to add, if you haven't struggled with wrist pain before, or if you haven't watched my how to deal with wrist pain for guitar players video, definitely go watch it. It's got a lot of other information there, but long story short, this is the tool I recommend from that video. It's called a gyro ball. And what's great about this is the harder you spin the ball, basically, the more kind of resistance and strength you're going to build up in your wrist. And in that video, I recommended using a Cherry MX Red keyboard, which is a very light touch keyboard. And it's interesting, I bought a keyboard recently that actually had a higher resistance switch in it, and it's kind of like helped to strengthen my hands, which is kind of a nice thing, because a lot of people, they get an injury and then they go, oh, okay, I can't play guitar anymore. I need to ice my hands. I need to relax. And that's pretty much where the injury care stops. But the thing is in order to prevent injury, you actually need to re-strengthen. It's like wearing a cast and then just saying, okay, go back to working out. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You have to re-strengthen it. And so you can strengthen every day by doing this. You can train your body to be relaxed every day by doing progressive relaxation. And you can, what I call passively train your hands by using like a harder resistance keyboard once your hands are healthy again. Cool. So I got a couple more concepts written down here. Some things I've been exploring for building endurance, because it's great if we can learn to play fast for 10 seconds or whatever, and it's nice and controlled and clean or whatever. But in order to play, like I'm working on a Symphony X's Inferno right now, and it's 155 BPM. You know, I don't know how long the intro is, probably about 30 or 40 seconds. And, you know, most guitar solos, unless they're just shred the whole time, which there's very few of them that are just constant shred, unless you're talking about like This Dying Soul or just like technical death metal. Anyways, so let's talk about some things. So if you take your pinky, there's this funny thing I actually noticed a very long time ago, where it'll kind of click. I'm just going to bring the camera up so I can get this a little closer for you guys. All right. There's a funny thing with your hand where your pinky will kind of click like this. Click. Click. And it kind of does this movement. Now the thing is a lot of times when we play guitar, move this back. A lot of times if you look at people who are like, oh, you got to get your left hand under control or whatever, it's funny, I actually literally did the math of like, well, if a car, you know, has to drive 10 miles at 60 miles per hour versus 9 miles at 65 miles per hour, which makes more of a difference? And the thing that makes more of a difference is the speed makes more of the difference than the distance. And so basically the distances that we're moving on guitar are irrelevant. It doesn't matter if your fingers are all the way up here, and you can even look at like, you know, some of the fastest John Petrucci solos like Stream of Consciousness, and you can find his fingers come off the fretboard pretty far. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to optimize, but the point I'm making with it is you don't have to optimize. It's not as big a deal as some people make it. You got to be, 2 micrometers off the fretboard. It's like, it's not really like that. The math, the physics, and the biology of it don't say that. I've got a good book over there called The Art of Piano Playing, A Scientific Approach, I think of what it is. And anyways, so let's talk about the pinky, because a lot of times when you're playing these passages, the place in the hand specifically that will get locked up is the pinky. And it's not like, I've talked to other players about this, students, and it's not like, oh my gosh, like my hand is in pain. It's just like, it's like you stuck your hand in a jar of like cold peanut butter and it just slows down and gets gunky. So I was like, well, why does this clicky thing happen? And the only thing that I figured out, which I'm happy to have anybody who knows more about this biology stuff. I'll give you another great exercise, Chris. I got it from a gymnast guy around here I met in a parking lot. He's starting up a new gym. He does a bunch of parkour stuff and has a degree in science and kinesiology and all that. So anyways, the reason I found it is because a lot of us, when we're playing guitar, our fingers are at this kind of curved kind of thing. And then when we reach our pinky, the pinky ends up being not in line with this part of your hand. And that's really where that click comes from. So if you get the pinky from being out here to being more in line with the hand, and in order to get those stretches, it kind of comes out and then around almost. It's like a rounding instead of just splaying outward. Then that movement goes away. And so I needed a way to train this movement and to get my pinky to move efficiently. And this literally takes 1 minute a day. So again, kitchen timer, one of my favorite tools. And what you're going to do is with your hand not bent, not like this, but just straight, and your hand kind of at neutral, as it would be kind of when you're playing guitar. I mean, maybe it's bent a little bit like that, but not a lot. Like this, and you're just going to take your other finger of your picking hand and put it right before your third finger. You're not going to be touching, you're just going to be right before it. And now what you're going to do is you're just going to move just your pinky. I'm going to bring the camera in close. Sorry for shaky cam. All right. You're going to put your index finger right before your third finger, and you're going to try to move just your pinky. And I want you to feel that very intentional movement that is not out here and coming back, but it's in line with this. And you're going to find that that clicking thing kind of goes away, and that you can also train your pinky to move pretty well independently of your ring finger. And you can get it to do so smoothly, because I've already worked on this a little bit. You kind of have to feel this wall that's in here as if your pinky is pressing against that wall and then coming down and around. So just go ahead and try that. And let me know how that feels. And if you really want to be crazy, you could do this with every finger. But you see how little my third finger moves with my independent pinky. And now another thing with this exercise is you don't want your finger to be straight. We're not trying to do like this straight thing where all of the fingers are rounded when we play guitar. So it's just coming just like this. And then you take that onto the guitar, and then you'll find that it's a lot easier to get the correct motion. No, I really appreciate it, Chris. It's kind of hard to find people to talk about this stuff with, and so if you want to reach out and email me, I'd love to kind of not get your opinion on some things, but I'm looking for somebody to kind of collaborate with on the course stuff and kind of confirm some theories about that I have about muscles and sports performance and all that. And I've seen other physical therapists on YouTube say not good things. So I really appreciate you being here. You can reach out to just mattwrightguitar@gmail.com. It'd be fine. Yeah, maybe we can do a little trade or something, or a little interview. Cool. So now let's talk about taking this onto the guitar. Now, going into sports performance stuff, what's interesting is there's kind of two ways to train based on what your outcomes are. If you want, like, why is steady state cardio so good? Well, it's low intensity for a long period of time. Why is HIIT so good? High intensity interval training. The reason that HIIT is good is because it's very high intensity, but it's very short. And so I was like, how do we do HIIT for a guitar? Because just playing, all that's great. But we need something that gets our muscles to be stronger, basically, or to perform in this way, this extreme way that we need it when we play. So, yeah, didn't get it. I wanted to be on time. I couldn't really check the audio. All right, so I came up with a little exercise I just call burns, and you don't want to do burns for too long, but the idea of burns is that we're going to do something that's very high intensity, but it's going to be very short. So I'll put a timer on for a minute, and also a metronome, which I can't do it on the computer because then it's going to play for you guys. So I have to grab my metronome over there. Give me 2 seconds. So with burns, basically what happens, or what I wanted to solve in creating this exercise, is people play and they're relaxed, and then they get to a point where they're not relaxed, and then they stop playing. But what happens is if you can play and be relaxed at your edge, and then go to where it's uncomfortable, and then while you're in that uncomfortable place, manipulate your mind to get your muscles to once again relax, you're going to bridge over to this new optimized way of playing. And there's an absolutely fantastic YouTube channel I'm a huge fan called B2 Studios, and what he does is he trains little neural networks to play sports or snowboard or whatever, and it's exactly how humans learn. Basically, in neural network learning, you say, hey, here's, your inputs and outputs, here's your data, here's your position on the snowboard, here's how fast you're moving or whatever. And your reward, you get a reward when you stay up right, or you get a reward when you snowboard straight down the hill. And so the problem is that when people go to learn guitar, they give themselves one parameter. They just say, go fast. And however that happens, yes, you're accomplishing the goal, but if you watch any of these videos by B2 Studios, you'll see that the solutions that the AI comes with are not not very graceful. Like the bowling one, he'll bowl a strike, but he'll always fall over at the end. And so the same thing happens with guitar. So we have to be very particular about the parameters that we set up. So I've only done so much warming up, just the progressive relaxation and smidge playing today. So I'm going to go at 150 BPM, show that to the camera. And I'm going to do kind of a difficult pattern for me. I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear this. I do like doing this on a high gain sound because I'm not concerned about being absolutely percussive, on being a clean sound. But just like I did with the mindfulness relaxation stuff, going neck, shoulder, in my arm, elbow, forearm, I bring that same level of awareness to different points, left hand or right hand or fingers or how the strings feel as I'm doing this. So the pattern I'm going to do is cool. And so then I'm just going to put a timer on for a minute, and I'm going to play this, and then I'll tell you what I felt, what I thought about, and we'll go from there. Okay, cool. So that's a minute. And so the things that I felt in there, where I felt if you break down the muscles that are in the arm, there's kind of like 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many there are, but there's just these 1, 2, 3, kind of 4 layered kind of muscles in here that help move the wrist. And I felt kind of one muscle in particular was kind of starting to get some activation. So this is an exercise. You only want to do 2 or 3 or 4 of these. 4 would be a lot. And then maybe on round 2, you're going to go through and just focus on just where you felt that activation. Now, one tricky thing about doing this is it requires a lot of attention span to... And I'm specifically playing this with the weakest fingers. So it's really tough to just keep focus. And I did good for I usually do about 30 seconds. I think I got down to 28 this time. So usually when I started this, I'd usually get down to like 34, maybe 33, 32. But I hit down to 28, so that's pretty good for this run. And that was on 150. So now, I wouldn't jump 10, but I know I can do 160 is kind of what I call my cruise speed right now, where it's kind of the edge of comfort for me to do that. So I'll just play just a little bit of that. So this is 160. And so you can just go through and do a burn for a minute, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is quite a lot of time. But the point is, be relaxed at the beginning, get to that point of tension, and then keep going, and try to find and get relaxed again. Now, the trick to this is you saw me stop in there, but I didn't stop and go 1, 2, 3, 4, start again. Is at most, because the point of this exercise is intensity. At most, I stopped for just 1 beat, and then I got back on. Even if it was just a little bit messy, because sometimes it's kind of like you're skateboarding down a hill. You get speed wobbles, but then you recover, and that's the whole point of this exercise. So I'm gonna go over here and read comments and stuff. Cool. I am gonna be everything I've focused on since about October, November is all about developing wrist picking, and I have a really specific set of exercises for doing that. But I haven't really found. I think the challenge with learning fast picking is at some point, at a very high level, using the whole arm motion is required, moving the whole arm up and down. Now, the tricky thing is a lot of people start with the arm and they don't have a way to really work up the wrist speed. And the whole idea with my system is that it overlaps so that our wrist speed goes smoothly into our arm speed, and our arm speed can go low down into our wrist speed. But generally, kind of what I see is using your arm all the time, doing this. It's just kind of a less controlled way to play guitar. So anyways, it's been busy at work lately. So no questions. I'm going to call it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope this is helpful to you. Speak kindly to yourself when you're doing this stuff. That's what you're going to encode into your body. And yeah, if you have any questions, just comment on the video, and I'm getting around to most of them still. And yeah, see you in the next one. Have a great week. Peace. Alrighty, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the live restream, and that cleared some things up. And that's it. I will see you guys soon. Thanks, Twisted Nature and Mr. Elvis, for watching. Appreciate you guys. See ya.